Is this tool any good? Counter Blitz, as we know, is a tool that was added to Strive to replace Wild Assault as a bit more of a healthier, aggressive option to use instead of the win all do everything. It's very low committal and it lets you cash out on specific counter hits, being ones that are cancelable normals. For example, anything that can go into a special cancel. The damage is quite decent and you do get a hard knockdown, and it does break the wall for a positive bonus that doesn't affect the tension penalty, so it's a pretty cool addition. It did its job of lowering the power level of the game while still giving us a fun, unique, universal mechanic to use. The question is though, is it a tool that's worth using? What's up fellas, Panda here, and if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe, hype it up, comment, let me know what you think about Counter Blitz. But let's get into it by talking about the points that make it not so much of a good tool. So this comes off of a counter hit giving you a reward. That does sound pretty good. However, most characters know what they want to do with a counter hit. When Potemkin does any of his big counter hits, he wants to use Hammerfall. It gives him hard knockdown, it gives him pressure, and then he can break it for a pop buster on 2S. When we look at any of these counter hits, Potemkin already knows the answer that he wants to do. He doesn't really have a difficult answer. He picked Counter Blitz. He's not one of the characters that could get Oki off of it from full screen, so when he looks at this tool, he thinks to himself, it's kind of a dead one to use. If he adds the meter as well, he's just going to get so much more reward plus the Oki. It's just not worth it on a character like Potemkin. There's very few situations that are worth it, but we'll talk about that near the end of the video as the positives. A massive issue about it that kind of goes unnoticed, but it's kind of a big deal. It can only be done from special cancelable normals. Off of normals, you thought this would be a fantastic option on, like Sol 6H. It's not. This would have helped Sol's consistency game by a ton, as 6H is a very difficult tool to get reward off of on counter hit. Despite the fact it's made to be a counter hit tool. It limits the usage of this that could have been used for tools that really needed it, and as you see, Sol Bad Guy now has to try and do a meterless confirm that's super awkward, or use RC, where he could have got a small cash out using this tool. The fact this persists for a lot of these types of normals that have no special cancels, it makes it, again, very hard to use, as it limits the places where it would have been fantastic. Now there's another massive issue with it. It's buggy. In distances that it's supposed to break the wall, it will do exactly that. But this is not the case due to aerial counter hits. If you get an aerial counter hit, let's say one of Ram's counter hits where it puts them in the air, she's not getting that wall break counter blitz. It's a weird bug. Aerial counter hits just don't lead to it. However, if the counter hit put them in the air in the first place, then it's fine. For example, Potemkin 6H will work in the corner, and it will do exactly that, but if it was a counter hit done with the opponent being in an aerial state, you just don't get it. Is this intended? Is it a bug? We're not 100% sure, but we know for a fact that it's not useful here. Now I know what you're thinking. Surely there's some characters that this is a good option for, like Axel. He has long reaching counter hits. There are characters it's great for, but let me show you why it's not good for Axel. Let's take a look. Oh, it doesn't connect. It just doesn't connect. It whiffs. So that's another big issue. If your character has big long counter hit confirms, they already have combos for it, but maybe the distance, it could be a little jank, or maybe it could be a little weird. You think that this is a good go-to for those characters. It's not. It's actually just not. It'll whiff completely. And this happens on a lot of normals. And again, with the character that I play, Potemkin, it doesn't work on 6H, and it doesn't work on 2H. And on certain distances to do with 5H, which is a fantastic normal, it doesn't work. You see the issue with this tool. It's very difficult to use in neutral just due to the fact that on some normals, it just doesn't work. Is this intended? Probably. And I think this is a good decision because it makes the players aware of when they need to use it rather than just use it on every counter hit. Like we talked about, it's already very limited, and we're limiting it even more to do with distancing and paying attention to that. It becomes a harder tool to use optimally. Very easy to use in the lower levels of play, but as a top level player, this is going to be absurdly hard to use. Here are some of the positives. These are characters that actually do get pretty good stuff off of it. When Asuka's fighting against some of the bigger bodies that he wants to keep locked down, there's some setups that are actually fantastic to use counter blitz. Being able to lock down Potemkin in the corner and being able to interrupt him with a 2S into a counter blitz is really, really good for Asuka, as it lets him get a wall break, keep that suffocating pressure, making Potemkin kind of hold himself a little bit. You can't just go like, I'm going to pick Hammerfall every time. and he has to think that this counter blitz is going to lead to huge reward and a positive bonus for the character you really don't want to have positive bonus. One thing I also forgot to mention, this is editing Panda, is that the reward on a mid-screen counter blitz for Asuka is actually fantastic. It allows for a guaranteed cube. It lets him set up a strike throw, so it's very good for a character like Asuka and any set play character like Venom, for example. For set play characters or projectile play characters, it's fantastic for mid-screen. So it creates this mindset of like, maybe against this character, I'm going to stop using my defensive options because that counter blitz is very scary if I get hit in the shins. It creates a situation of caution, and that's exactly what was needed in the Pot Asuka matchup, as Pot could just throw caution to the win and keep throwing himself at Asuka. Characters it works very well for are characters that can set up forced counter hits. Now what do I mean by this? Characters like Slayer with his universe actually get affected by this tool. As you can see, after doing a chump and getting a counter hit mid combo, you can actually use counter blitz for a wall break. It's pretty cool and can enhance the damage that Slayer could do without meters, so this is actually a pretty good option for a character like him. For a character like Lucy, who's already lacking in a lot of regards, this actually gives her more sauce to work with because she can force counter hits using her super, and now she has a cash out with counter blitz. So not only does she have a cash out with a super, she can mix it with the universal mechanic to get even more of a cash out, and I think that is a fantastic design option for these characters specifically. It benefits them, but for the rest of the cast it can be very hard to use. This part is talking about its best application. Now where does it work best? When is the best time to use counter blitz? There's only really one option for it, and that is when your opponent's low, near the wall, and they have burst. For either of these options, it becomes a fantastic option to use. If you land a counter hit 2D or 5H going straight into counter blitz, it's very good because you get a lot of guaranteed damage when the burst is up. Unless they burst on the normal, then you'll use half of your burst, they lose their burst, and it's a kind of a positive outcome for them. They haven't, it's guaranteed damage, and it puts them in a more of a health point where they have to consider burst as maybe not the option this round and hold on to it for the next round. The wall is in play at low health. This is actually a fantastic kill option. If you land a counter at 2D or 2S, whatever, this can be a great way to end the round quickly without having to worry about doing an optimal or a combo. Just being able to do this when you notice your opponent's health is actually great for the mind, because you no longer have the mental stack of doing the combo after playing tight neutral. It allows you to maybe think a little less and think about the approaches that have been happening throughout the matchup as you just have a quick cash out. Again, good design here. Beating burst, beating the wall break, getting your kill. It's exactly why you want to use counter blitz. Is counter blitz a good tool? Now this is where the question comes in. I have to say yes, because it lowers the power level of the game down from wild assault, which is a fantastic thing. It's great for newbies to pick up because if they don't have a counter hit combo, they can always just hit forward dust. Can't go wrong. And for those game ending situations, it's great for lowering the mental stack. It's not too strong. It has its use cases, but it's not a use case in every scenario like Wild Assault was. Keeping history into mind, I think that this is a very good tool for the game. If history wasn't involved and this was here with the launch of the game, I'd be like, it's an okay tool, it could use some buffs, but because of the state of the game and what we had to endure through and what is gone, I think this is a fantastic tool that kind of fits certain characters to a very good degree, and other characters not so much. It doesn't really help them. In the end, it's like a 5 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 in terms of strength, but that's exactly what we need. If you guys have enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, hype it up. It's awesome when you guys do that, and tell me what you think about counter blitz like I said before. And for all the members, thank you very much. It means a ton, and if you want to keep supporting me, again, it's super appreciated. Thank you. And that'll be it for today's video, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!